Happy Tuesday, people. April 7th, 2020. I'm gonna let you know right now this possibly is gonna be a long video. But I want y'all to take time and listen to what I'm saying. Stop debating in your mind. Just receive this information that I'm trying to give to y'all. Because understand, knowledge is going to be, the world is changing. It's never going to go back to what it was before this virus. It can't. It's not possible. We've never seen the world's economy get shut down. It's never happened before. So when they start it back up, they're going to have some things is going to be different fundamentally, and overall some things is just going to be completely different. Some of this is prophecy, some of this is by design, whatever you want to call it. It's going to happen. I'm not really here to get into any theological discussion or theoretical discussions at this point. That's not what I'm talking about. Just pay attention. First, understand the difference between information and knowledge. Information, for example, is knowing you need to do something. Knowledge is knowing how to do it and implement it and create actions. A lot of us, we get information and we run with it. We just regurgitating talking points, spin, whatever you want to call it. And we use our vain thoughts and convince ourselves that I have knowledge just because I ran across some information. What are you going to do with that information is the knowledge. How are you going to implement it? How is it going to help you, benefit you? That's the knowledge. You know there's a such thing as fried chicken, but do you know? But you know how to fry chicken yourself? Do you know the steps involved? Okay. And a lot of times that information creates vanity. That's what you see people wearing these masks incorrectly, wearing gloves incorrectly. Those vain thoughts have led to them to believe, oh, because I'm wearing a glove, I'm safe. But you're not using the gloves correctly because you don't have the knowledge to implement it, to take actions. So y'all putting on these gloves, a lot of times you might as well not even put the gloves on because you ain't doing nothing good. Okay? A tool, like a carpenter, a hammer and a screwdriver, a carpenter can do a lot more with a hammer and a screwdriver than just an average Joe. Yeah, the average Joe knows what a screwdriver and a hammer is, but the carpenter has the knowledge to build with it. And I hope that makes sense. See, I got a couple of viewers, so I'm kind of going to start out slow and build on that. Let's see who I got. Okay, I got Ash on here. I was going to originally do the video today about the mask, because my mask, my PM 2.5 was supposed to come yesterday, according to Amazon. And it did not come. My soda went down the wrong way. Clear that out. Okay. So yeah, mine didn't come yesterday. It was supposed to be here last night by 8. It did not come. So obviously Amazon's going to owe me a credit now. They already done sent me that message. But we just going to wait. I really want the mask. I don't really care about the credit. I want the mask. So hopefully that'll be coming tomorrow or within the next couple of days. But I haven't got, it's through they doing it through the post office, so it's not like FedEx or UPS where I could see what city it's in. The post office don't always update as quickly. Sometimes it won't even update until it hits the city that you're in. So like, the closest cities that get a distribution here in Indian Trail is either going to be Charlotte or Monroe. So once it hits those, then it'll switch to out for delivery, and I'm going to see that. But I'm not going to see that till right before it goes out. So, moving on. I want y'all to humble down and so you can get this knowledge, so you can start building on knowledge. A lot of y'all just so used to getting information and you want to react to the information, but you're not receiving You're not and then after you receive, you're not understanding. So I want to try to give you some understanding, because that's different. That's a different step that comes after just receiving the information. Okay, I'm trying to lead y'all to some knowledge, some edification. Things are changing. Currency is going to change, and we've been seeing that here in the United States happen slowly. Some other places it's been happening more rapidly because they're more receptive to creating knowledge and implementing technology. You know, the Chinese, the Swiss, the Germans, they're a little bit ahead of us. But because we have so much vain thoughts in general, just as Americans, we fool ourselves that we the smartest, we the brightest, we got the best in the world, and a lot of us don't have any clue what some of these other countries is doing as far as technology. For example, in China, they have a social media app called WeChat, I believe it's called. I'm pretty sure it's WeChat. And their whole society is a social media app on steroids. It's their version of Facebook, Twitter, PayPal, Cash App, all combined into one. Everything in the fabric of their society has been weaved into this app. So much so, they have stores that are set up like little kiosks. Think about it like you go into a little mini store like in a mall, set up exactly the same way, but nobody's working in the store. The app automatically bills you for what you pick up. It's automatically there, so it's totally automated. They got other places like where they do their parking, like on the street. You know how we have to swipe our cards and all of that? They don't have to do that. All they got to do is scan the little barcode. Boop, done. But some of that is even becoming automated, because they're so much further ahead. And this is normal to them. They go into the grocery store. They buy their groceries this way. They buy clothes that way. They're out on the markets. Everything. They're not swiping cards no more. They're not exchanging cash. In some places in China, they're 100% on this level. It's all digital. And understand why this is, okay? And this is what they're trying to understand, that we're so distracted by bipartisan Republican and Democrat. Understand that behind the scenes you have what's called the plutocrats. They're the ones that's pulling the strings around the whole world, particularly here in America, but they're running everything. And they want to get America to where China is. Okay, because they've already done it in China. So it's not a national thing. It's not like all of these plutocrats are all American. They multinational. Okay, these are the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. These are the top dogs. You don't even know their names. They sit on the boards of all of these companies. Coke and Pepsi, the plutocrats, it's the same group of people. They sitting on the board of both Coke and Pepsi. They're not competing with each other. Okay? All of these companies are running like that. So when you really boil it down to, we go into the supermarkets and we think that we have choices, and that way we're seeing 1,000 different companies and with all of the products that we're seeing. But the reality is we're only seeing about 10 to 30 companies that represent all of those 1,000 products. Okay? And then behind the scenes of that, where the plutocrats come in, it's only like 5 groups of people, okay, that sit on the board that have a controlling interest in all of these companies. It's only like 5 to 10 actual people. Okay, those are your plutocrats. Okay, and when you get to that level, this ain't conspiracy. This is real talk. Okay. And there's been books about this for decades, okay? Real scientific evidence behind this for and I usually give the example of I don't know if a lot of you remember. So a lot of you are new to politics. Y'all just really started paying attention to it during the Barack Obama years. So I use this as an example to try to put it in perspective for you. During the Barack Obama years when he was running against Mitt Romney, okay? Because see, Mitt Romney, he's not one of those plutocrats, but he's close to him. So he got some inroads to him. During that election, they met with Mitt Romney when he was down in Florida. It wasn't a convention. It wasn't anything planned. They decided that they need to have a conversation face to face with Mitt Romney. And they met with him down there. I can't remember if it was in Tampa or Fort Lauderdale, but it was somewhere on one of the coasts. And it was on a yacht. The news tried to get close to find out who are these people Mitt Romney is pausing his campaign to go meet with. Who are those people? They shut down all of the cameras within a 2 to 3 block radius of this yacht. Okay? Traffic cams all closed circuit. There was no pictures of anybody going on to the yacht. This was purposeful. This is how these people move. They move in silence. But we did have record because the world was watching Mitt Romney that he went to that yacht. But there was no pictures of him actually walking onto the yacht or him even being close to the yacht. The closest we got to Mitt Romney was like 2 or 3 blocks away. And that was with a telephoto lens. Okay, that's how these people move. And it was hushed up right after that because people was asking him, who did you meet with? Who was on the boat with you? Who were you talking to? He didn't talk about it. And it quickly got swept under the rug. And I pay attention to stuff like that. I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell just happened here? A presidential campaign just went on zero dark for like a 4-hour period and nobody knows what's going on? It's always somebody watching, especially in today's world. You got cell phone cameras. You got cameras everywhere. You got satellite coverage. You got all kind of tools that people can track you. This time, during that particular event, zero dark for Mitt Romney's whole campaign and everybody that went on the boat to the point where nobody knows who's on that boat. So we know it's some important people to have that kind of security, okay, in place. We know this, okay? Don't be naive. I'm sure the same thing happened with Obama, too. I just can't think of an example off the top of my head. The closest I can think of it with Obama when he got engaged directly with those group of people is when he first went over to Saudi Arabia. See, that's something you have to do. The way everything is set up, you got to go kiss the ring. You got to go bend the knees of these people. Some of them are Saudi Arabians. Some of them is over there in the Middle East. Some of them in Israel. Some of them in China. Some of them in Japan. They're not all here in America, and they're not who you think they are. You don't know who they are because everything is concealed. Their identity is always concealed. That's why when you try to find out who's on the board, who sits on the boards of these companies, there are certain names you cannot find out. Hello. Those are the people that's pulling the strings. So, let's bring it back to WeChat, that social media app in China. This is what the plutocrats want. They want this worldwide. Because they want to be able to control everything. That's what they want to be able to monitor everything because, see, information is power. There's a monetary value for having the information. That's why Google is a powerful company. Amazon is so powerful. Walmart, because these are huge companies that harvest this information. Same thing in China. You have companies just about in every country that's just a little bit above everybody else. Your Alibabas, and that's basically eBay for China, and all of these type of companies. Okay. And we're sheltered from that information here in America. We don't know what's going on here in America, let alone what the other countries is doing. Okay, unless you purposely start digging into this. But if you're most people are totally oblivious to this. Okay, think about the movie Minority Report. Okay, with Tom Cruise years ago. See, the movies always prepare you for the future. Usually they're about 10 years behind. So if you go 10 years back and look at movies 10 to 20 years back and look at the type of movies that was coming out, these futuristic movies, these high-tech movies, Will Smith with I, Robot was one of those type of movies. Will Smith has done a couple of those movies, I, Robot, Independence Day, with, what was the other one? I, Robot, was another one that came after that he did too. It'll come to me in a minute. But these movies are all designed to it's propaganda. Okay, and make no mistake, the people developing these movies are controlled by the plutocrats too. So they put certain themes out there to test the waters, to start preparing society to be more receptive so when it hits. Okay? So when it hits. But understand that's how it works. It used to be with books and newspapers and radio. Now we're more advanced. It's movies, it's CDs, it's TV shows, it's YouTube. All of this is designed to program you and to indoctrinate you into the future that's coming and preparing you in advance. Okay? I had a conversation with somebody earlier on Facebook about 5G. Understand, they started making the plan for the cell phone networks back in the 90s. They laid that plan out then. Back when it was before they started calling it 1G, it was just a cell phone. But when they started making the plans, all of a sudden it became 1G. And then 2G rapidly followed. And then 3G. And then 4G. Well, is which we are now. But understand, that's a plan that they had been had. So 3G rolled out in early 2000, 2001. That's when we first started seeing the 3G phones. Back then, Sprint was the leader in that. Sprint, and then closely behind was Verizon. But Sprint was the leader on 3G. They came out with the Samsung A500, the Samsung 4900. Those were flip phones, but they were color screen, and they started having the advanced features. And they were the first phones to have the 3G. Okay? And it was rudimentary. It's nowhere near what the later phones became, but that was the beginnings of it. But even back then in 2000 and 2001, they were already, the cell phone manufacturers were already talking about 4G and 5G back then. They mapped out the time frame. Now, we're just a little bit, a few years behind where they wanted us to be. Oh, another Will Smith movie was Men in Black. That was another movie that prepared, it was it started introducing some of this future tech to you. Now, when Will Smith came out, coincidentally, back in early 2001 with Men in Black, it was fascinating to us. It was a mind-blowing. It was a top movie. But in today's world, you wouldn't even be fascinated by that. It would be like, oh, okay, yeah, because you've seen it. Other movies and other mediums have built onto those concepts that they build onto each other. Okay? Hell, it started back in the 70s with Star Wars. Star Wars came out in, 76, 75, somewhere in there? All of that future tech. Now, 10 years after Star Wars came out around 76. 10 years after that, Reagan was coming out with his own Star Wars, which is your satellites, space. But they prepared us for it 10 years in advance. Okay? Back to the Future. Remember Back to the Future? Remember Back to the Future, what was it, 2? Where the flying cars and all of that kind of stuff. We're not quite there yet. But some of those cars and things are in prototype. Okay? When was the future? When he went into the future to meet his future self, what year was that? I can't remember. Was it 27? No. It was 2015, right? Because when he went back to the future, it was 1985. Or the present day was 1985 when Back to the Future first came out. When he went into the past to see his parents in high school, that was 55. So wasn't it 2015 was the future? I could be wrong. I haven't looked at that in a long time. But go, it's pictures on it. You could Google it. You could Google that year that he went into the future. We've already crossed that. It was November 2015, I believe it was. I don't remember the exact date. But that wasn't an accident. That wasn't an accident. That year, that time frame was not an accident, people. That's happening to us now. They're trying to catch up to it. Because, see, to have some of that technology that Marty McFly witnessed in the future, you have to have the 5G network. You got to have that instant on, okay? You got to have that already readily available. You got to have that artificial intelligence. Same thing about Minority Report. It was around that same time period, okay? Tom Cruise was walking through the store when he got his new eyes, right? Remember when he had to get new eyes because they would scan your retinas. They was doing facial recognition and they would scan your retina, okay? We don't have retina scanning on our phones yet, but we do have facial recognition. Pay attention. So when he got his new eyes and he was walking through the store, the scene in the store, I posted it last year sometime. I can do it again. You can search it yourself on Google. When he's walking through the store, the mall area, the shopping center, it was scanning in his eyes and it was catering the advertisement directly to him. Hey, how was that shirt you bought last year? Don't you want to get some jeans to go with it? Hi, they was calling him by his first name. Hi, 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 hi. As he was walking through it. That is the future that the plutocrats want to create. Because that information is they can monetize it. So sure, an acceptable risk is to lose 70 million people worldwide. They don't care because they're going to over monetize the rest of us that's left. That's their plan. That's Esau and Moab's plan. Esau is the white man, Moab is your Chinese man. They've been doing this throughout history. Who have your largest empires been throughout the world? It's always been the Asians, okay? No matter what group of Asians you talk about, the Mongolians, this, that, or what other, the Japanese, they're closely related in there too, okay? Or your white people, your Romans, which later became your so-called Europeans. They've always been playing a world domination game and keeping the rest of us distracted, okay? Let me see. Let me check the comments. Okay. I Am Legend. That was one of them. That wasn't. Yeah, that's one of them. There was another one. He's done a few of those movies. I'm telling you, they always use the big stars. They always do that. Your Will Smith. Who's your biggest movie stars in the last 20 years? Will Smith, Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise. I'm missing somebody. Ain't nobody been bigger than them three. Those are your top three movie stars. Look at the type of movies they put out. And they typically do these things. Okay. I Am Legend. They got an I Am Legend 2 coming out. I would put Matt Damon in there. Because then he do the one of the virus movies. He's did a Dogma movie. All of that shit is connected. Pay attention. It's not by accident. It's not by accident. They tried to use Denzel early in his career with some of that kind of stuff. That was the Manchurian Candidate. They always go after the biggest stars to put that kind of stuff out there. And Manchurian Candidate is the underlying theme of that is how the governments, you got these secret governments working behind the scenes and working together. I'm not so much into the psychological programming. That may or may not happen, but what's the big lip white girl? Brad Pitt was married. Angelina Jolie. She's done a couple of those movies, those type of movies. They tried to use, what was the new one? She did the movie Lucy, and she was the Black Widow in the Marvel movies. Real Pretty White Girl, they've used her, but she ain't big as some of these other ones. She ain't done enough movies. She big as the Marvel movies, so they use her when it sees fit. But it's not an accident. It's not an accident. All of these systems that they design work together. They work together. Y'all think it's just one big system or it's another system because your indoctrination has taught you to think it's one or the other. It's left or right. It's up or down. It's right wing versus left wing. They always make you forced to choose you between two choices. But what you don't understand is these systems overlap. Think of them like circles overlapping each other. That's what the systems are. Okay? So you'll have one big circle and then you have a lot of little circles overlapping on top of it. So think of the country in America as white supremacy was the major system that was here first. That's the reason for the Europeans coming to America, as far as their understanding is. Okay, not to get into God controls everything, so He put these thoughts in their head to make His will happen. But understand that they do things and they don't even understand why they're doing these things. That's God working behind the scenes. So that's another topic. But just focusing on the white man's ideology, they was big on white supremacy, always have been behind white supremacy. The system they had over there in Europe before they came over here in America was imperialism. Okay, it was a failing system. All of their systems will all ultimately fail, but they tried to develop a new system. The new system was white supremacy. Okay, it wasn't based on a bloodline; it was based on your color. That's the difference. Okay, and that's what they set up here. But on top of that, it's layers of systems, and think of each layer as a circle, a smaller circle, and they layer and they interlap with each other. That's your racism, that's your prejudice, that's your bigotry, that's your socialism, your capitalism, your libertarianism, that's your prison industrial complex, that's your industrial complex, that's your corporate complex. Okay, that you got to think of it as layers, and they interlap, and they never compete with each other. They always work together. That's why they try to tell you, oh, capitalism is good, but socialism is bad. Bullshit. We don't have one or the other. We have them both, and they're working together. That's why anytime capitalism fails, they always turn to socialism to bail out capitalism. If we had true capitalism as it's defined, we would never have to go to socialism. Okay? You never have to do that. It would never go that way. And if you had true socialism, you wouldn't need capitalism. Okay? But because of greed, and that's where the capitalists come in, they have greed. So they use capitalism to get their greed, and they use the socialism to reinforce it for their benefit. But anytime it comes to the benefit of the majority of the people, they try to shut that down. And they throw these puppets out there. Okay? And in the early 90s, it was the Newt Gingricks and some of them. Now we got the Mitch McConnells, we had the Paul Ryans, and we had a lot of them. Those are the puppets that they flow out there to keep the people distracted, because we're more working class people are more alike than not alike, regardless of color, regardless of race and nationality. But they don't want us to know that. So a lot of times we vote against our own best interests. It's not just the rednecks and the MAGA wearing people that do it on the right. We got some of us that do it on the moderate left as well. Because and strangely enough, George Washington warned us of this. When they were founding this country, and they were meeting in Philadelphia to decide the Constitution and all of those kind of things, when they were meeting behind those closed doors, Washington and some others, were against they were against the party system, period. Okay, he was against it. And one of the things that George Washington said is what's going to end up happening, people are going to be more party orientated as opposed to country orientated. This is George Washington in the 1700s. What was it, 1776 or whatever it was? He said this back then. He saw this coming. It's taken a few hundred years, obviously, but we are there now. People care more about the party that they affiliate with, their team. That's all a party is a team. You see this in sports. Because, see, if you care about football and you really about the game or basketball, if a bad call is made, it's a bad call, no matter if it benefits your team or not. But you'll see people that they're a LeBron fan or a KD fan, and LeBron and KD gets away with a travel, for example. He gets away with a travel in the game, and because that's your team, you like Cleveland or you like the Lakers or you like Golden State. Oh, no, he didn't walk. But now that same thing had happened to somebody else, your favorite player on another team, you would be screaming your lungs out. We do this in baseball, football, any sport, baseball, football, but, you know. Oh, it ain't the first down, but if it had been your team, you'd be saying, no, that's the first down. Or, no, that ain't pass interference because it's against your team. But if it was for your team, oh, hell yeah, it was pass interference. But see, if you're a true fan, you're going to be honest. Yeah, I have to admit, we got away with that one. Politics is the same way. Okay? Politics. When you start getting the understanding and stop identifying with your team, and now we're starting to see the parties break down. So when you look at the Republican Party, you have moderate Republicans, and they're pretty close to moderate Democrats. Their thinking is pretty close. Okay, it's not till you get to some other layers. Okay, I'm not even going to put it like extremes because it's not far left and it's not far right. It's not equal. Those are two different things. But think about it as different circles, different groups within a group. Okay, so in the Republican Party, you had the Tea Party people. And then now we got some, we thought they were extreme. Now we got some more extreme MAGA wearing people who don't give a shit one way or the other way. They going to win at all costs. That's why they look the other way when Trump lies every damn day. As long as they get what they want and their team is winning as they see it. But wait a minute, what happened to your principles, your Republican principles? Those go out the window. But you do have some moderate Republicans who are diehard to their principles. Okay? That's why, Mitt Romney struggles because he tries to be on that line, whereas he voted with the Democrats on one of the votes on articles of impeachment. Okay? He couldn't, because he's more value orientated than some of these other people. I believe Paul Ryan, to an extent, was that way. That's why he just retired. He was a young man. He had a long career ahead of him. When Donald Trump got in office, he was like, I can't do this. Okay. The Republican Party is starting to have a come to Jesus moment. Okay, because they see how crazy this man is, and he's going so far away from their core values, and they're not going to be able to bite their tongues much longer. Too many people are going to die for their taste. Okay. Right now, the plutocrats are behind the scenes pulling the strings and keeping them in line. That's what's happening right now. But eventually, that system is going to collapse. Okay? Same thing is going to happen. Make no mistake, the same thing is going to happen on the Democratic side. It's not the far left. On the Democratic side, it's the moderate Democrats that's the problem. Because those are the ones who are in bed the most with corporate America. Okay, those are the ones that are pulling the strings. You look at these corporations, some of them donate equally to the Republicans and to the Democrats. Okay, but now they're getting scared because now you got the progressive Democratic wing that's starting to emerge, and they're trying to shut it down before it does because they don't want what happened with Donald Trump's years to happen again, and they lose power. Because, see, a lot of those old Republicans, they're not in power anymore. You understand? Before Donald Trump got in place, a lot of them are gone. Okay? The ones that was making the real money, your Bush family, they ain't making the Bush family ain't in power no more in the Republican Party. Look how they was in power during the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Because they lost control of that wing. The other political parties, the rest of the political parties that remain, the remnants, are not going to allow that to happen again. Donald Trump snuck in. Okay, so that's why your Halliburtons ain't really, they ain't making so much noise. That's your Cheneys and that crew that was in power during that years. Okay, the Clintons ain't in power like they was. They're losing power. So, cause see, but Barack Obama was more progressive, but they was able to get Barack under control after he got into office. They was able to rein him back in, and that's why he moved back towards the moderate side. Okay, but they got a glimpse of what could happen. Cause see, the Clintons wasn't supposed to lose. Hillary wasn't supposed to lose. Barack Obama surprised them. That's another topic. They're not gonna allow Bernie to get in there and do that. That's why they're pushing and throwing everything but the kitchen sink behind, and the kitchen sink behind Biden. And he's fucking crazy. His cat shit. He's senile. He ain't said one thing, one platform issue he was going to do. All he is going to do is run around and beat people up and do everything Obama did. That's what he wants to do. How the hell can you be president running off of what happened damn more than 10 years ago, and it wasn't even that good for everybody? But that's what they want, because the Democrats were in control and they made a lot of money during that year. Follow the money, people. Who I got now? It's Shelby. I'm giving y'all this information so that way you can translate it into knowledge, so you can start implementing it into your lives. And y'all want to be entertained so much. That's black people's problem. That's Israel's problem in general, but more so black people than anybody. Y'all Judah, okay? But the other tribes are like, we all like to be entertained. And that's why black church and church in general in America is such a big thing, because this is entertainment. You like to be entertained. You like to have the warm and fuzzy feeling. Go ride a roller coaster. You get the same exact feeling, okay? Speed in your car. Go on the highway. Push your car to 100 miles an hour. You get the same exact feeling as you do in church. That's adrenaline, okay? And that's a form of manipulation. That's a system as well. The church was a system that was set up. That was one of the remnants that came from Europe. Because, see, the church didn't originate here. For black people it did, but it started in Europe with the white people. They put that system into place. Another conversation. But because y'all don't have knowledge about Western civilization, you're oblivious to this. You never heard this before. You don't know how to connect the dots. I don't know how to connect the dots. What's going on here? PBS. I'm going to have to get rid of that damn notification, because PBS be going off like crazy now. And used to didn't be like that. Every blue moon you would see a PBS. Now it's every day, 4-5 times a day. Like I said, it's going to be a long video. I ain't got nothing to do. We on lockdown, and I'm trying to give y'all this information because I love y'all. This is love. I'm trying to edify you. I'm trying to empower you. Everybody ain't going to get it. See, that's the other thing that we was taught. Majority rules. We ain't never had majority rules. The plutocrats been, the minority of the minority has been controlling everything since the beginning. The distraction is, oh, you have majority rules. That's never happened. That's never happened. That's why only a small percentage of the population historically has ever voted. And the both parties actively fight against. They want to keep their control, because they understand that if it was truly majority rules, it wouldn't be in their best interest. They would lose power. Okay? And they don't want that. There was a movie that came out that had that, a future movie. What was that damn movie? Charlie Sheen's wife was in it. It's a bug planet. It's a horrible planet. Whatever that movie is, they was fighting the bugs and shit. some kind of space movie where the bugs were super big, but there was underlying technology and shit going on in that movie that a lot of people missed. Okay, so that society was more of a socialist society. Everybody voted, and you didn't have to go nowhere to vote. You could vote right from they had a button they could push, a cell phone, whatever. They had a device where they could vote instantly on policies and things like that. They had got rid of Congress and all of that for the most part, and they could poll people instantly on anything. A lot of people missed that in that movie. Starship Troopers is the name of that movie. Deep movie. Okay, and you weren't considered a citizen unless you served in the military. That's how you became a citizen, and you got your full benefits in America as a citizen. Okay. So it was more like a combination of a socialist, castes. It was a combination. It wasn't. It was some capitalist elements there, but it wasn't as important as the socialist and the caste aspects. We have those things here. We it's just not as dominant, and everybody's not owning up to it and being honest about it. So the kid that was the star of the movie, he's done a few movies too. Nice looking little white boy. He was dating the Charlie Sheen's wife when she was younger in that movie, and her character was dating his character. I can't remember his name. He was Johnny. Johnny was his name in the movie. They went to the same high school, and she was the prettiest girl. He was the star of the high school. He came from a wealthy family, and all of that. She really didn't come from a wealthy family. So her plan was to go into the military after high school so she could get more benefits in society, so she could move up to the next level. That was her plan. He didn't have to do that. He was already rich, so he was already in a higher caste system, but he was chasing her. So that's why he joined the military. But by chasing her, she went in for her reason. He was already rich. He ain't had to do that, and that's why his parents disowned him in the movie, because he was chasing little girl. Even his father and mother, even you heard them talk about that early on. It's a chain of these movies. It's like 4 or 5 of them. But go back and watch the first one. Some of y'all be missing shit because you anti-sci-fi and whatever you like what you like, and you don't be seeing the underlying themes in these movies. They preparing you. That's what's going to happen here, or that could potentially happen here. Understand something. Everybody is being affected by this coronavirus. The military is going to be affected too. This thing, by no means are we going to be out of this anytime soon. This thing is going to linger for a couple of years. Understand that the Spanish fly, or the Spanish flu, not Spanish fly, Spanish flu, was, that lasted for about, 2 or 3 years before they got it under control? That took about 2 or 3 years. The same thing is going to happen with this one. We don't need, this is why they aren't putting out the number of people tested. We have no clue how many people have been tested worldwide, in this country or any country. They purposely leave that number out, and that's the most important number, because the other numbers don't really matter without knowing how many people is tested. For example, they tell you, oh, we got 200,000 cases in North America. Well, no, in America. 200,000 cases. And we're at a rate of X amount of cases per day. Okay? And they're telling us, they're trying to make us focus on the rate, the daily rate. Does it go up? Does it go down? It doesn't matter if we don't know how many people is being tested every day. So, for example, if we're discovering 15,000 cases, let's say 10, let me make the numbers even, 10,000 cases a day, okay, if that's how many positive tests are coming up, how many people are being tested? Okay, so is it 15,000 people being tested a day? And of that 15,000, 10,000 are coming up positive? we got a big problem. Or is it more like 100,000 people are being tested every day, and of that 100,000, only 10,000 is showing up positive, which is still extremely high. But what are the numbers? What do those numbers mean? So without knowing how many people actually have been tested, and then when you get into that, you get into a whole nother ball of wax. How effective is the tests? Is our test as good as the test that the World Health Organization has? Because, see, they had their test first. They worked out some kinks. We've been rushing our test through. So is it a 50-50 test where it's a flipping a coin? Well, we don't even know how effective the test is. Is it the equivalent of what the dollar store pregnancy test used to be like? Yeah, because remember them people would take them pregnancy tests and, oh, I'm not pregnant, and then 6 months later they showing? Remember that? Now, them dollar store tests are better now, but about 10, 15 years ago, them dollar store tests wasn't shit. Okay? Same thing with the DNA tests. The DNA test that we have today, in 2020, is significantly better than they had 10 years ago. Remember, DNA came out in the 90s. So the DNA test that they was performing on OJ's blood in the 90s is nowhere near what we can do today. We can find out all kind of information from DNA today because the testing has improved so much. Not only is it faster, it's more precise. It gives you more information. Okay? That's the way these tests work. Same thing with the coronavirus. It works the same way. I'm holding a cigarette. It just went out. I ain't even smoking. It's a little windy out here, and I'm talking. Understand how things work. So, what is the effectiveness of the test? We have no way of knowing because they listen. In January, we had no tests for this shit. Now, all of a sudden here in April, we got a top-notch test. Bullshit. I don't believe our scientists are that good or the government is that good. I don't believe it. Based on history. Hold on, y'all. Let me go get my charger cable so I can charge while I'm talking. Going back out? I'm gonna go back out. Hey. Boots! Boots! Come here. Come here, Boots. Boots, come here. Come here, let's go. Let's go. You going right back in this house. Come on. Back in. Back in. Go. Don't know how to act. I'm sorry, I'm back. The dog acting crazy, barking at. He bark at the same damn people in the backyard every damn day. They right next door. He see them every damn day. I don't know why he barking at them, acting crazy. Then other times he'd be out here all day and won't bark once, and the people be outside anyway. Hold on, let me get my camera right. There you go. Okay. All right. There you go. We juiced up now. All right. Y'all all right? Y'all with me? Let me sit up a little bit. I'm about to eat this banana. I should have ordered my lunch before I got on this video. No. What happened? Oh, okay. Let me see. They're going to have to wait. Now, when I was trying to text people, ain't nobody want to pay no attention to me. Now they want to reply now that I'm busy. They'll be calling next. So, oh yeah, I don't know if I told y'all. I could eat bananas again. You know, in the beginning, I had to cut down on my potassium, but my potassium is perfect. I can eat all the bananas I want. And yesterday, I was on a calcium supplement that they would give me during my treatment. So they cut that out. I'm not on calcium no more, which was I wasn't even paying attention to that. So that's good. Anyway, let me see here. What's this? Okay. So where was I? Where was I? I was talking about Starship Troopers. So they're changing. Let me bring it all back to the WeChat. Okay, and that's a real app. You could download it to your phone here in America, but when you try to set up your account, you're not going to be able to do that because it's exclusive to the Chinese people. So far, it's coming, but it's all about money. Always follow the money, and so everything in their society is being connected to this one app. So everywhere you go, they got you on GPS. They got you. They can point down at you with the satellites. Your currency. They eliminating currency. Ain't no more money. So anytime you buy something, they know what you buying, where you bought it, what time you bought it, how frequently you bought it, who was with you when you bought it, how many other people in the community has bought the same thing and when they bought it. All of this information is powerful. So let me give you a basic understanding of what I'm talking about. Grocery science, grocery store science. You could go to Netflix. Y'all got plenty of time, and there's plenty of documentaries on grocery store science on YouTube, on Netflix. They monitor everything. When you walk into that grocery store, actually, when you pull into the parking lot, all of that shit is systematically designed. They know so much about our buying habits. They know so much about our buying habits. They've been studying it for generations now. And it's amazing. Everything in the supermarket is placed strategically. It's not an accident. Those planograms, a planogram is a chart, a diagram, which tells stores where to put each product. Each shelf is all diagrammed out. That's purposeful, okay? That's purposeful. That's been going on for a long time. All or any type of retail operation is definitely using this technology, the planograms. And if you worked in retail and had to stock some shelves or some clothing racks, it wasn't by accident. They had a position in the store for it, and they updated it regularly. See, they were constantly monitoring that. McDonald's did it, Walmart do it, all the grocery stores do it. Walmart's probably the best at it. It's not an accident that they put TVs in the front of the store right before tax time, right before people get their tax checks. Okay? They don't do that no other time of year. They put them right in the store. When you walk in on both sides of the store in the Walmart, whether the pharmacy side or the grocery store, when you walk in, they be having them TVs playing. Okay? Big signs showing you what the cost. Okay? Sodas. Okay? It's not an accident. It's not an accident. Again, think about when you walk into Walmart on the grocery store side. Usually, on that corner, right? You got that corner. You're gonna have some kind of clothing store, right, or clothing right there, on one of those corners. And it's always gonna show you the next season of clothes that's coming out. So if it's summertime, they start putting the fall clothes out. If it's fall, they start showing you the winter clothes. If it's winter, they start showing you the bathing suits. They start trickling them out right there on that corner. Okay? Because they're thinking ahead. It's not an accident. A lot of people start buying summer clothes in spring clothes in the winter. A lot of people do that because we think it's cheaper. They already got us beat. They already fooled us. Okay. Amazon is the same way. They're monitoring and they're working with Facebook. They're working with Google. So here, I'll prove it to you. Google something that you've never bought before that you don't even want. Just Google it, right? Some kind of product. Let me think of a product that's kind of out of the ordinary. A garden hose, okay? Most people don't regularly buy garden hose. Go buy a garden hose. Go look for a garden hose on Google, right? Do a search, and I mean click on some of them links. Actually, go to Amazon, do a search for garden hose, and I guarantee within 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, when you go on Facebook, you're gonna start seeing advertisements for garden hoses. Try that experiment out and pay attention to how much they monitoring you. Now, you've never searched for it on Facebook. You've searched for it on Amazon and on Google. Okay? And then they recycle that information too. So typically, if you got a car, right, and you search for car insurance at any time in the last 5 to 10 years, right, you're on a database somewhere and somebody's been selling that database. And if you haven't changed your phone numbers, every now and then you'll get these telemarketers that specifically advertising to you car insurance, extended warranties, stuff like that. Okay? And they know your name, they know your address. That is targeted marketing. So how did they get you on that list? How did they know you had a car? Because somewhere along the line you search for it. And they put you on a database. However you got on that database. That's what China has perfected. That's what the plutocrats want. It's all about bombarding you. Because see, they say the average person, if they see an advertisement or a product 11 times, they're more likely to buy it. With that repetition. You keep seeing the same commercial over and over and over, and then you're in Walmart. Next thing you know, you know what? I'm gonna try that product because I seen the advertisement. I heard they said it must be a good product, right? That's where all of that thinking comes from. It ain't nobody telling you that. You just the commercial's been telling you that. Okay. WeChat is the future, and that's what they want here. Go to YouTube and watch some videos. I'll post one or two. I posted them in the past, but I'll post one or two after this video on what WeChat, how it's affected the Chinese society. It's everything. They just scan in. Boop, boop, boop. We could buy cars through a vending machine now. That ties in. That ties in to the WeChat shit. They could just go up to the thing and buy a car, just scan the barcode, boop, and the car come down. That's what they can do. They ain't got to do nothing more. Now we can do that too, but not on the level. They could decide, hey, you know what? I want a car today for the first time and not have done anything proactively. Walk up to the vending machine, scan it, and boop, and the thing comes. Whether it's a car, a lot of them don't have cars, they have scooters. So they can buy a scooter out of the vending machine, like boop. One bill. One currency, and it's digital. It's through the WeChat. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay? But some of the systems are fighting each other. The banking system is still trying to hold on to its relevance. It's about to be irrelevant. We have a population control problem here in the United States and across the world. Okay? So let me add another layer to this shit. If we continue at our current rates, our 1999 rates, right? Our 2019 rates, as far as population growth. If we continue at those rates here in this country, we will not have enough food to feed everybody by 2070. And this is a statistical fact. The movies have been preparing us for it. There's been videos on this topic, documentaries on this, okay, for at least 30 years. But now it's becoming more real, okay? White people already know they're going to be the minority just statistically if the population keeps growing the way at this current rates. So, of course, you got to do something. You got to introduce something to break that path, okay? You got to introduce a virus. You can't imprison everybody because even the prisoners are getting it. And then eventually you gotta monitor the prisoners. So eventually the virus is going to seep out of the prison. So there's an acceptable loss. You got 350 million people currently in this country. Plus, they would love to go back down to 200 million. They would love to because we're going to run out of land. We're going to run out of water. We're taxing the resources exponentially. We're going to run out of food. We're going to run out of the electrical grid. Can't handle this. That's why we have brownouts. California's already having water shortages and droughts because of their population. So how do you get it? The only thing you can do, and this has always been Esau's mentality, death is the answer. They'll just kill you. Remember during slavery? They got as many slaves on that boat. Then when they realized they didn't have enough food to feed all of them slaves to make it through the whole journey, what did they do? They threw them overboard. There was an acceptable loss, profit-wise. That has always been their philosophy. Okay? Always. This is why you have these census reports, and they're always trying to count. Because they're always trying to measure how far they can go. Okay? That's all this is. China is the same way. They got and their population has well been out of control. That's why they started implementing things in the 90s, like trying to control how many children people have and all of that kind of stuff. You think they stopped doing that? All of that's not an accident. Because we're supposedly a democracy versus China, who is an authoritative government, they could just impose laws. Well, that doesn't fly over here. But believe me, if they can make this an authoritarian government, they would. Okay? But they have to be more cunning over here. Or we would have 1 billion people here too in no time. Think about it. So that's why they do sterilization. That ain't working. Sterilizations don't work. And at the rate that they want it to work. Okay? And it will become obviously, if you're sterilizing a particular group of people and their birth rates are significantly different than the other people's, we know something is going on because we all eating the same food and drinking the same water. Okay? This is what this is all about. Now Esau and Moab is doing these things unknowingly to them that this is God's prophecy. See, God sent us here to America, God's people, to punish us, to make us wake up. So all of this going through up until now still hasn't woke us up. They ain't whooped your ass enough. They ain't did it hard enough. So God's turning that heat up a little bit more. And he predicted that he would. That's where the plagues and viruses and the earthquake and the climate control, he's slowly turning that heat up on us until we wake the fuck up. The unfortunate thing is, all of us are not going to wake up. Only 1/3 of us are going to wake up. But it's coming faster than you ever thought it would. It's exponentially increasing. So we heading towards changes, drastic changes in our world at a faster rate than ever before. So that this currency change, again, China's already there. That's coming here soon. I'm talking like next year. They're going to start cutting down on printed money and coins. Watch. Pay attention. That's going to happen. What do you need money for? Think about it. Most people, how often do you actually need cash? None of us need it. We all can get debit cards. Nobody actually needs cash. Everybody can get debit cards, and every business can set up to receive a payment some kind of way right now, today. No matter what kind of business, I don't care if you're selling weed. You got weed men out here that's all digital, using Cash App and shit. And using the Square Trader and swiping your card and shit. Your weed man can do it, anybody can do it. Okay? The little girls out here selling coochie with Cash App and swiping cards and stuff. You don't need cash for anything. You also got cryptocurrency. This is why the government is scared of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, because they can't track them. It's totally anonymous. It's totally anonymous. You don't know who owns it. You don't know where they bought it, where they used it, who they traded with. That was the purpose of cryptocurrency. And they're scared of that. I've been telling y'all about Bitcoin and get a little bit of that. It's going to be a whole new currency. And more than likely, it may be digital. As in the beginning, anyway, it's definitely going to be digital. That's the purpose of 5G, to make it digital. Because to have self-driving cars and all of these things that they want us to have technology-wise, you gotta have the 5G. We do not have it. It's so much faster than what we got now. You'll know when you're on it. You do not have it. You might have been somewhere, you might have got a glimpse of it here and there. But wait till it's been in the implementation for a few years to see how fast it is. It's gonna you'll be able to download a whole movie in like 2 seconds. Y'all know how long you can't even watch a movie today without it buffering. And that's even with you being on your supposedly 5G Wi-Fi in your house. You can't watch no movie without it buffering at some point. It happens because we not on 5G. But once we get on it, it's going to be instant on. It's going to be a whole new world. It changes everything. Understand, before 3G and 4G, most of us didn't even have cell phones. 3G and 4G came out. Now, y'all sleeping with your cell phones. It changed everything. The whole business model changed. Telephone companies have basically converted over from being a telephone company to a cell phone company. Well, they've been absorbed by the cell phone companies. Remember, Verizon wasn't Verizon in the beginning. It was one of the Ma Bell companies, depending on where you were in this country. Pacific Bell, New York Bell, Atlantic Bell, Southern Bell, Bell South. It was Midwestern Bell. It was some kind of bell. Verizon got together and the companies got together and bought up all of the remnants of the bells when they broke up Ma Bell in the 80s. But y'all don't know that history. A lot of y'all too young to know that history. You don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. You don't know who Ma Bell is. Ma Bell was more powerful than Verizon. If Verizon got the network behind her in the commercial, Ma Bell had the whole country standing behind her. Ma Bell was a beast. They had to break her up. $5G is going to fundamentally change cable companies and network TV. When you get 5G, ain't nobody going to be... We barely watch regular TV now. Ain't going to be no more broadcast TV in the current form that is in today. It's not going to happen. Everything is going to be transitioned drastically, fundamentally, radically. Understand, 3G came out in 2001. Okay? 4G fully, most people have 4G in most major cities in 2009. Okay? Okay, so that's 9 years. That's from 2009 to 10 years. 9 years, 10 years from 2001 to 2009. Roughly 10 years. Now here we are again, 10 years later, and we talking 5G. So certain industries that we had before is gonna not be. When I was a kid, you had a telephone repairman. When you got your phone installed in your house, when you had your problem in your house with your phone, a certified telephone technician came to your house, tested your lines, they tested all your jacks, they tested your equipment. That was a career. We don't have those no more. If you happen to even have a telephone in your house and it's plugged into traditional landline, whatever you need to fix that landline, you could go to Walmart and get it yourself. You don't need a technician because we've been indoctrinated and we all have that skill set now. Most of us do. If you don't, you know somebody that does. But hell, it's being phased out. Who the hell has a house phone? Very few people. If you got a house phone, usually it's through the cable company. It's through the internet. It's VoIP. Some of the old people are still holding on to their house phones for whatever reason. They don't even use them no more. Right? The same thing has happened to these certain industries. I was riding with Ashley, and we rode by Charlotte Metro Credit Union on Ashley Road right there by Walmart. And I was telling her they don't have no tellers in that bank. When you go into the bank and you standing in line like you think you're going up to a teller, when it's your turn and you get up there, it's a video screen and you're chatting with somebody on the video screen. All of your banking is done remotely. Okay? That's where we're going. And then pretty soon they're not even going to set up locations. This is going to be a kiosk like the ATM machine. You ain't going to, ATM machines ain't even going to be spitting out money pretty soon. They already in place. All they got to do is convert the screen over so you can video chat with somebody. Wells Fargo, Ben started doing that. Bank of America too. So the banking industry is going to radically change. And it's not going to be based on the US dollar. It's going to be based on some kind of digital currency. Or they're going to convert the digital dollar, because that's what they're doing in China. They're converting the yang or the yuan or whatever it is over there into digital. They're going to stop printing money over there. We're right behind them. Pay attention. That's what all this shit is about. That's what all this 5G is about, people. Now, enough on 5G. There's theories out here, and there's been theories out here how the 5G network was going to affect us, the radiation that it creates. It's a strong, much stronger radiation, and it's closer to us. Today's world, we could put a 4G tower high up in the sky on top of buildings. Remember, they have 4G towers on top of the World Trade Center. They could put them way up there. They ain't got to be close to us. The 5G towers have to be down to the ground. They got to be real close, like on top of a traffic light or a parking sign or a traffic sign. That's how close to the ground. And it has to be a lot more of them because they're smaller. So they don't broadcast the signal as wide. It's going to be a lot of smaller, concentrated towers everywhere. They're going to be everywhere. Understand that. And you in China, they rolled out 5G in October. I said this on another video. And their first case of corona happened, that they reported, was in November. And every place that's rolled out 5G has had high cases of coronavirus. That's Germany, that's Switzerland. When you look at the places that haven't had extreme examples of or cases of 5G, of corona, they're colder climates, and they have less 5. They have virtually no 5G, like Russia. Russia don't have no 5G. They've had no cases of coronavirus. Some places out in the Midwest, rural places, they haven't gotten corona yet. It's coming to them. It's going to spread, but it hasn't. It didn't originate there. It's popping up all over the place in these hot spots. The more 5G, the more towers they put up. And I guarantee if they start testing these installers, because they've been exposed to it longer than anybody. And these cell phone manufacturers, again, where they manufacture the cell phones? In China. So pretty soon you're going to see a lot of Verizon installers and utility installers that are going to be popping up with this virus as the testing improves. Okay? Watch. We're not out of this. We nowhere near out of this. The whole world is, listen, America is big on holidays because those are your money holidays. So your first biggest holiday is canceled. That's Easter. That's been canceled. All of that money has been canceled and it's gone. Okay? What comes after Easter? Memorial Day or something? What's the next holiday after Easter? Whatever it is, that's going to get canceled too. If 4th of July gets canceled, which I'm pretty sure it will be, that's when you know shit is hitting the fan. So I'm trying to teach y'all this to get you some knowledge so you can start thinking ahead. It's like chess. You need to be thinking 3-5 moves ahead. Okay, we got to stop playing checkers, black people. Stop playing checkers, okay? Make sure you got a little bit of long-term food in your house. I know we're not accustomed to doing that, but we need to start changing our behaviors, okay? Get you some rice and some beans. Bag of rice is cheap. Bag of beans is cheap. Keep it in your house. Cans of tuna fish last a while. Keep it in your house. Get some long-term things. Start getting some filtration. I gave y'all the zero water pitcher, but any filtration is better than what you got now. Get you a water pitcher so you can filter your water. Get you a tarp. Tarps is like $4 or $5. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them anywhere. Get you a tarp. They're usually blue. Get you a tarp. Forget about it. Keep it in your garage. Keep it under your sink. Just keep. The purpose of the tarp is you can collect rainwater and filter it out, and then you got some drinking water. Because all of these systems are like dominoes. They're dependent on each other, and they're going to start to fall. You don't have that many people working at your water company. I know they don't in Charlotte. So you got a handful of people. So what if half of them get sick? What's going to happen to the water supply in Mecklenburg County? What about your smaller cities? Your Matthews, your Indian Trail, your Monroes, your Concords, your Statesfields. They probably got less workers. What if they get sick? Who's going to run the machines? Who's going to run the electrical grid? Start getting you some candles. Make sure you got some waterproof matches. Okay? Y'all thought these preppers was clowns. They're dead ass serious. Okay? And they've been talking, the preppers have been predicting the Armageddon coming, not just zombies. They've been predicting the world collapsing or the country collapsing because of economic instability. It's starting to happen, people. It's starting to happen. Pay attention. I would really like to know who is watching me that I can't see. That means they're not my friend. I really would like to know. I'm always curious. Whoever's watching me, send me a friend request. Obviously, I don't have you blocked because you can see me. So send me a friend request. Let me know it's you. Let's engage. Let's interact. Because see, that's an important part of communication too. Is the interaction. That's how you get the understanding. Oh, get yourselves one of these or two of these, okay? This is a portable power pack. Okay, you charge your devices. I don't care what device you got. I can charge it for you. An iPhone, whatever Android charger you need, I can charge it. Your headphones. There's a lot of stuff to run on USB that you may need. Get you one of these. Keep it charged all the time. Keep it in your bag. Keep it in your glove box. You know, make sure you have it where you can get to it, because if shit hits the fan, you don't know where you're going to be, and you want to be able to have some kind of communication or access. Hell, I got it they got a light on it, so you may need a light. I can do SOS. I can do all kind of things with this. You may need this. It's also solar powered. So if everything goes out, it's going to take me a couple days to charge up something, but I can do it. I have that capability. Get you one. This particular one was about 30 bucks. This is a good one. It's rugged. You can drop it. It's waterproof. It got the solar on it. Get you a good one. Don't get you a cheap one. Get you a good one. Okay, if you want the link, I've shared it before. I'll share it again. Okay. Water, food, shelter. Where are you going to go if you have to leave your house? Because once the systems start to collapse, martial law is going to be implemented and people are going to panic. And you may have to leave your home because you're going to have people get scared, they get violent. And they think you got something, they're going to come up in your house and take it. Can you protect yourself? Can you protect your loved ones? Can you stop somebody from kicking in your damn door? You single ladies, that's something you should be concerned about. There's a bar you can go down and get. I'll try to find it. You can go and get this bar from Lowe's. You can definitely you can get anything on Amazon, but Lowe's or Walmart. I don't know Walmart, but you put it to your door. It prevents people from kicking in your door because it pushes it up against your door on an angle, and it ties into your floor where people can't just kick in your door and barge in your door. They'll break their fucking leg. Okay. Get you a bar or a wooden handle, or not a wooden handle, but like a broomstick. You got one of them old broomsticks. Get you one of them the wooden pole and cut it to size so you can put it in your sliding door. So can't nobody just take a knife and prop open your sliding door, because sliding doors aren't secure like the one that's behind me. I could take a knife, a crowbar, some kind of metal, jam it in there, step on it, and pop it up off the track, and then now I got the door off the track. Okay. I'm thinking about. I got a lot of information. It's hard to bring it out. Keep yourself. I know y'all like gel soap. Get yourself a quality soap. Okay. This is Dr. Brahma's right here. Dr. Brahma's. This is the olive. Smells so good, but get you a quality soap. This soap has 18 different uses. You can wash clothes with it. You can brush your teeth with it. Okay, you wash your hair. It's a shampoo. It's a Castile soap for your skin. You can make it into a disinfectant. You can go to the website and see all the recipes and all the different ways that you can use this soap. I don't read it well enough to be able to read it to you here, but you can go to the website and read it. It tells you it's an 18 in 1. It tells you no matter what flavor you like. I prefer the peppermint and the almond. Peppermint is my favorite, but get yourself a good soap. Keep it in the bag, or you got to bug out. You can grab this, throw it in your bag, and you got soap. Okay. Your hygiene, because see, hygiene is gonna be important too. Okay. I'm giving you worst case scenario. Maybe nothing is gonna happen and everything goes back to normal. I could be 100% wrong. I haven't been wrong yet. I'd rather prepare for the worst and nothing happens, and not prepare and the shit hits the fan half of what I think it's gonna be. Okay. Where you gonna go? If you gotta flee your house, who house you going to? Are you gonna stay in the city? Do you know how to travel to the city? All of the roads is gonna be packed. Do you know your back roads? Do you have a map? Do you understand how maps is without your GPS? So the word of advice, you're gonna want to go. If you have to flee, you're gonna have to flee to rural areas. You can't go into more urban areas. So again, I'm an Indian Trail. I would not flee into Charlotte, because that's where everybody is going to be packed and congested. You want to flee away from, because the more people, the more dangerous it's going to be, and the less resources it's going to be. Do you have firearms? Do you have weapons for those of you who are into that? What kind of ammunition do you have? Okay. You got enough shells? You got enough shotgun shells? You got 22 bullets? Y'all thought them 22 rifles was a joke, but any rifle is better than no rifle. You can always kill food with a 22, and there's plenty of 22 ammo in the world. That's your most prevalent type of ammo, followed probably behind 9mm ammo and shotgun shells. Do you have some way to defend yourself? Do you have a good knife? Do you have a good knife? You're going to need a knife so you can cut. Do you have something to start fire with? Do you know how to start fire without a lighter? Okay? Get yourselves a flint stick. They're on Amazon. They're like $2. Okay? Go to a store that sells camping supplies and get the little thing. You put it on your keychain. Okay? You can put it on your keychain and screw it. It got a match. You can screw it off. You can do all kind of things with it. Make sure you can make fire, people. So you can, because you're going to need fire to if you don't have water filtration, you're going to need to be able to purify your water. You have any chlorine tabs, okay? See, a lot of y'all got bullshit in your you got, bullshit. You got chapstick in your pocket, don't even know how to use it. You can use chapstick to start a fire. You got crayons in your house that your kids done broke up and got all over the floor. Take a couple of them, throw them in the the bottom of your pocketbook, because you can use a crayon to start a fire. Cut a piece of it off, light one end of it, put the other end on some wood, you'll start a fire. It's a lot of techniques, a lot of knowledge that you can implement, put action to. I might talk more on this topic. I'm getting hungry and I've been running my fucking mouth, and I think I covered everything I wanted to cover right now. Please give me some questions. Ask your question. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you I don't know, and I will try to find out the answer or find somebody who does to point you in the right direction. But start thinking, people. Remember, black people, we at the bottom of society, so things hit us worse than every other people because we have less resources. We have no resources. We got to go to them for everything, for food, for your thirst, for your clothing, everything. For everything you go to them for. And if they cut it out, then what you got to have some knowledge on how to do these things. Can you grow your own food? Can you process your own food? Come on. Do you know how to take a can and turn a tin can into a stove? Come on, people. You got any way to move water from one location to another? I don't care how big or small that water is. Can you take I ain't talking about a bottle of water, because again, that's going to run out eventually. Pay attention. Like and share. Follow V. Holla at your boy.